you think you got an empty parking spot, you pull up and it's a cart sitting right in the middle, and then you have to get out and do it. So those are things that sometimes kind of hurt me in ways that bring that pettiness back out and just let me know that I still got some work to do on myself. So that's mine.
That's, hey, listen, you petty. I'm petty too, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I totally get it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're gonna welcome to the stage all the way from the East Coast, Miss Taking. What's going on, Miss Lady? You on mute?
I keep doing that. Um, um, see, a bunch popped in my head, and you said only one. You gave me enough time to think about it. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like. One of the things, I guess this kind of goes to the same thing: double dipping. Um, and the other thing is like if someone's cooking and they're using a butter and like use a spoon and they stir, but then go back in the butter and get some more and then leave, some of the seasonings on the butter.
Yeah.
And I go in and look, yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like that.
That's
I do
crazy.
not like that. I hate it. So
So,
double
so,
dipping,
so
all that
you
goes in the double dipping thing.
so you use a different knife for peanut butter and jelly.
I wipe it off in between. So you just have a paper towel. You get your peanut butter and then you wipe it off and then you get your jelly and you put the jelly on.
Okay.
Oh, so you be leaving stuff in the butter. The fact that you just asked that, that means you be leaving stuff in the butter.
The thing about me is that I don't cook.
Oh, okay.
I don't really have those issues.
Okay.
I
That's
want most stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Now, do you not cook because you can't or you just don't feel like it, so you don't?
Those sound like the same thing. I don't cook because I don't really have to. Like my wife cooked.
Well, before you met her, what did you do in between that time?
I had enough money to eat out. It is. I'm just being honest with you. I can't cook. I mean, I can follow a recipe or whatnot, but I mean, for the past over 20 years, I haven't had to cook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Welcome to the stage. He said he got an answer, but we'll see today, Mr. Prototype.
What's good?
What's going on, homie?
What's up, everybody, man? Yeah, I got mad pet peeves, yo. My first one, I got four of them right off the top of my head, man. My first one.
What is the question, though?
Listen though. I got like four of
The
these things that
question
I gotta
said,
get out.
what's the biggest one?
But they all equal. You know what I mean? I can't just say it like that. You know,
Okay.
so
Go ahead,
listen,
bro.
my first one, right? My first one is agreeing to disagree. Oh, that irks the heck out of me. I can't stand that. You know what I'm saying? I get my other one is like people walk around with a bad attitude. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm naturally kind of a bully. So when somebody walks around with an attitude, it says challenge to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why you got this stupid attitude on? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and being wasteful, like people that waste stuff, like my kids waste food all the time. And oh my God, it irks me. Like, y'all don't know where I came from. I wish I had food to waste growing up. It just irks the hell out of me, man. So it's just like, I got some pet peeves. I can go on and on.
That's three, though.
Yeah, well, I hate clutter. Clutter is another thing. Like if things is messy, or I go nuts. I go absolutely nuts. It's just one of those things, man.
You got OCD?
No, I got ADHD though. So I mean,
you been diagnosed or you diagnosed?
Yeah. I've been diagnosed.
Oh, okay, got you. Bet. All right, we're gonna welcome to the stage. Hey, she been gone for a long time, but she's streaming well today. Miss Dia, how's it going?
Hey,
You got the question?
I do.
Right.
I would say when speaking to people, when you say hello and people don't speak back, I don't like that because it's unnecessary to me. So that's my biggest pet peeve. It's like, why? And I like smiling and greeting people, and when they be looking like, what's wrong with you? And I be like, Dad, you can't say hello. That's crazy to me.
That's
But
a good one. How do you respond to them?
I'll just say, okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't let it.
I know some people that'll go off while you didn't speak. You know?
Oh, no.
Okay. You keep it pushing. All right. That's what's up. All right. And welcome to the stage, She's back. Miss Shan.
Hello, everybody.
You
out
got
there
that
in the
sleepy
world.
voice.
Is that what it is? I've been up since way, way early, and I'm
Oh,
gonna do it again tomorrow. So yeah, maybe.
that's a bit. Okay. What you got?
Repeating myself to adults, it drives me insane. And I mean, when I give someone information, I try to be very clear and concise with whatever. Maybe it's the people that I work with, just overall working with adults. I hate repeating myself, and I don't like when I've written it out and then you ask me instead of reading. Like, what is the problem? Use your degree at some point. So yeah,
Well, some of these people got degrees that shouldn't have got them. So I mean,
agreed.
You talk about use your degree. Okay.
You learn how to read in kindergarten, first grade. You should be able to read an email.
That's fair. I got it. And welcome to the stage, Mr. I'm off mute, Dwayne Jones.
All right. I'm gonna jump right into this. I got two. First one is people that can't take themselves off mute. Oh man, let me tell you. Oh man. All right.
Why are you talking about me?
No.
It ain't just you. It ain't just you. It's never anyone on the panel. I got
That's good.
quick study. I'm a quick study.
Shout out to Ricky.
Number two, people that are late. Oh my gosh. Anyways, those were all me.
Why are you talking about me?
I'm talking about myself. I'm projecting. I'm talking purely about myself. But let me get down to it. All right. People that chew their food with their mouth open and smacking. Oh my gosh. You ain't got to applaud for the food with your lips. Come on, man. We already know it's good. Just go on with it.
Did you say applaud? You
said
applaud with
your lips? But they saw their lips just doing that clack, 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 clack.
I never heard it put like that. That's pretty interesting how you put that. That's what's up. My pet peeve is people that don't take accountability. Like, I mean, you know that you did something wrong, but you just not going to accept it. You would prefer to say it was somebody else's fault that you did what you did, when we all know we in control of our actions. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. So that's a good icebreaker. So we'll start, and then we're gonna get something simple. All right. I ain't gonna get into the deep dive just yet, but I was thinking about this. Because being on the cruise that I went on, we had different things to eat or whatnot. And I'm from the South, and I enjoy a good cup of tea. And I didn't think they had a lot of teas there. So my question for the evening is, who makes the best iced tea? Who makes the best iced tea? Right? It could be it could be you, it could be somebody that you know, it could be a restaurant, or or a mom and pop, right? So who makes the best iced tea? We'll start with Miss Take, and then you'll choose who goes next.
Dang, I don't know why you asked me, because I don't even drink iced tea. I'll do Arnold Palmer. So I'll say Chick-fil-A, because they got great lemonade. So if I do the Arnold Palmer with their lemonade, so that's how I'm gonna have to answer, because I don't drink iced tea like that, but I will mix it.
Because you're from the East Coast.
I will go with Shan.
I don't really drink iced tea either. However, I do like a good Long Island iced tea. Shout out to the dude at Chili's off of 35 in Lancaster on Wednesday nights with all the rings on. The brother be making the good Long Islands over there on Wednesday nights.
That's what's up. Is that a special?
2 more days.
Is it a special?
No, I just like to sit up at the bar at Chili's, sometimes pre-Friday. You sit at the bar.
No, that's pre-Friday.
Yeah, I go a couple times a week. Sometimes it's stressful.
That's a bit. Who you got next?
Let's shoot over to Martavius.
Oh man, I could not.
Turn your mic down just a little bit, Tay.
You need to.
It's a little hot.
Can you hear me now?
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to think Milo sweet tea is what I was thinking about. That would probably be my favorite because I'm from the South in Alabama, and that's what I remember having the most. I haven't really had it lately because it's not the same up here. So if I had to choose one, it would be that Milo sweet tea.
Yeah. They have an unsweet and a sweet, right?
I just do the sweet. I don't really do the unsweet, so I couldn't even tell you
That's
about the unsweet part.
Who you got next?
I'm gonna go to Prototype.
You know the question, Prototype?
Who makes the best iced tea?
Yeah.
Publix.
Who?
Publix.
Oh,
Grocery store.
Grocery store. Okay.
Keep it simple.
That's what's up. Do we have a Publix up here? I don't know. In Dallas?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Okay, cool.
We may need to do some searching.
For real. Gotta taste that. What you got? Who you got next, Prototype?
I don't know who went. Was that a second or where I falling to the line? Let's go with Dwayne. Did you go? Mr. Muted.
Oh, he hate himself.
It wasn't you. It wasn't you. Oh man. So yeah, I don't really get down with iced tea like that either. But I will say back whenever I did brisk iced tea, the one.
Oh wow.
To go to.
That's what's up. Who you got next?
Come on with it, Shan. Have you won yet?
I did go.
Hey, you raise your hands. Ricky.
That's another pet peeve of mine. People that don't pay attention.
I think Mistaken hasn't gone, and Ricky are left.
I went first.
He went first.
Dia and Ricky.
So that's her saying she don't like that you'll be listening, Shane.
I know. I heard it. It hurt me deep.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Oh man, my wife make the best iced tea, sweet tea. But we have a little summer cocktail. We get Jeremiah weed, hard sweet tea, and then we make sweet tea with lemon and mix it up. It's pretty fire. Yep. So Jeremiah weed, sweet tea.
Put that in the back chat when you get a chance, bro.
Yeah, I got you. I got the link for you and everything. Yeah, but it's super decent. You make your tea, your iced tea the way you would with lemon, and then you throw the Jeremiah wheat in there. So it's like a summer drink.
I might do that for my birthday.
What you got, dear?
I'm gonna say me. I make the best iced tea. My grandma raised me, so I guess they didn't have Kool-Aid back then. So that was the go-to was iced tea. So me.
That's what's up. How much? Like, if you was to make a gallon, how much sugar are you using?
I would use 3 large tea bags, and 2 cups of sugar. Exactly, to make a perfect sweet tea.
Okay, that's what's up. I would say mine is my Uncle Anthony. If you followed me, he was the reason why this podcast even started. Well, it was Dwayne, and then he was the first one I interviewed as it relates to interviewing dads, and so shout out to my Uncle Anthony. His sweet tea is like almost a toothache type sweetness. You know what I'm talking about, Shan. And when it ain't there, man, listen, it's a problem. So,
which is why if I do drink tea now, it's unsweet.
You see what I'm saying? Like your taste buds be just like, what in the world? That's a bit. I appreciate that. So that's a very simple question, and so we're gonna transition to the topic, so to speak, at hand. So, like I said in the beginning, double standards, we always talk about them. And somebody's always saying, well, that's a double standard. And somebody has an issue with somebody talking about a double standard. So I want to talk to the panel about what is your perspective of a double standard. I'll go and edit that again. What is your perspective of a double standard? Okay. And we'll start with Dwayne. What is your perspective?
Double standards is the hypocrite. That's what I would say. That rules for thee, but not for me. Like I'm gonna do my set of things and expect you to abide by my rules. Meanwhile, I'm not abiding by myself. So that's my answer.
Okay, who you got going next?
Miss Dia, come on with it.
I would say a double standard is gender specific. So men are expected to be a certain way or do a certain thing, and women are expected to be a certain way or do a certain thing. Like women are known to be emotional according to the double standard, but if a man was emotional, it would be feminine. And men don't communicate.
Don't give too many. Don't give too many.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we gonna get into that though.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Who you got going next?
Ricky.
A double standard. I don't want to say this the right way. I don't want to conflate.
It's what's your perspective. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily a definition.
Oh, okay.
One, but what is your perspective of a double standard?
Yeah, it's a double standard. Is things that apply to me that don't apply to you. You know what I mean? We both can do it, but it's looked at different by separate parties involved, right? It's not even, right? Even though the action is the same, it's not viewed the same. That's a double standard to me. Martavius, what you got?
Yeah, I'm probably on the same line of like with Dwayne. Like it's just being a hypocrite, saying one thing to a particular group and doing the exact opposite of that. And just so for me, when your actions don't line up with your words, and it can just be dealing with just about anything. I just example popped up in my head, but I'll save that for later as well. So I'll go with mistaken.
I would say I'm in alignment with Ricky as well. Like, just having a set of rules that apply to everybody else other than you, or other groups, and not some. And typically, from what I also see, that is typically gender specific. I will go to prototype.
I don't think it's gender specific at all. Like I feel like it could, just be anybody. It could be parent to child, or it could be boss to employee. It could be, racial. So anytime somebody can do something that you can't, you know what I mean? That's the double standard. So
Okay.
Shout out to Big Low in the comments. That's what I was gonna say.
Okay. What did they say?
It's cool when you do it. It's a problem when I do
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the baseline. I think that's everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the baseline is, if we put it in one word, it's hypocritical. And we talked about this on a different podcast about being hypocrite, I believe. And then prototype just said that when he said that it even applies to anybody, it's not gender specific. So I want to kind of help kind of elaborate on that, prototype. So if you was to say, well, you tell your kid, well, I can drink, but you can't. Would you consider that? You saying that is a double standard?
I mean, that's context. Like if I'm legally allowed to drink and they're not legally allowed to drink, I don't think it applies that way.
Okay.
But like, let's say it's something like I had the dessert, you can't have extra dessert type, you know what I mean? Or anything, or I don't have to be disciplined, but you gotta be disciplined. You know what I'm saying? You keep your room clean, but I don't gotta keep my room clean. You know what I mean? It's those kind of things that parents gotta do, be more of an example than just somebody to just like, don't do this, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Kids gonna do what they see.
Kids gonna do what they see. Okay, got you. We'll go as a footnote. So then could we, I think Dia, you was starting with this. You was naming some. So name a double standard that you would say is controversial. Because I think you said, well, men can cry. I'm sorry, men can't cry, but women or allowed to be emotional?
Well, I said emotional, but emotional can be different things. It could be anger, it could be sad, you know what I'm saying? But to be specific, I would say cry. Yeah, that's a great one. I'm still yours. So yeah, I would say it's acceptable for a woman to cry uh publicly and probably not a man. It would probably be frowned upon. I actually had this conversation with my 14-year-old. So yeah, that specifically, I would
Are
say,
you able to explain how the conversation went? You don't have to. I'm just curious.
yeah. So he asked my husband if he cry, because I get he's never seen him cry. So my husband said yes. A particular time when he cried was when somebody close to him told him that they were terminally ill, and that was the last time that he actually cried. So I was curious as to why he asked that, and was it okay for him to cry? And he said that he felt that a man should be able to cry with his wife, maybe not a girlfriend, but his wife. He should be able to be that vulnerable, but not all the time. But there may be a time when he may need to cry, and he should be close enough with her that he can cry with her. But if he cries often, then that would appear as weakness. And because a man is to carry his family, he wouldn't want to be that vulnerable and consistently around his wife and his children. So I was like, okay.
Man, that's pretty good. Who
Yeah.
you got going next?
Mistaken.
I would say a controversial one, especially now in the modern era, is women having multiple partners sexually, and are demeaned for it, and men are rewarded for it.
Okay, simple as that. Did you want to? Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna come back to that. That's a good.
I'll go with Ricky.
Controversial that a man can hit a woman, but a woman can hit a man, but a man can't hit a woman.
I didn't think of that one.
I think it's self-explanatory. We have this idea that women can't hurt men because you're stronger than her, because you're bigger than her. I think that's a lie. I think any creature with bad intent, small or large, a spider with enough venom can hurt you. All right, so that's all I got on it. Let's go, Proto.
A double standard that's controversial. I mean, y'all kind of hit all the good ones, right?
You can expound on any of them.
Well, yeah. So Ms. Dead was kind of talking about men, men crying and when it's acceptable. I think men cry a lot, actually. But I just think it's a time and place. I think we all played sports at some point. I've cried over plenty of football games that I've lost. You know what I mean? I've cried over plenty of homies that that's passed away. So I think it's context, like, you know what I'm saying? But nobody likes somebody that's whiny, and I think women are, given the freedom to be like whiny and crying over anything, you know what I'm saying? But I think men cry all the time, so I don't think it's a double standard for men to cry. I just think it applies to context, And as far as mistakes, now women can't be out here doing what they be doing, and men can, and the problem with that is y'all the one who reward us for it. And then, wonder why, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all reward us for being out there. So it just, it ain't gonna stop until y'all, put some standards on
it. You want to respond to that, Mistaken? Or you gonna wait?
Double standard is a double standard. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I've always been of the mindset, just in general, nobody should be sleeping around because it serves no purpose, no beneficial purpose in doing so. But I think, again, in terms of double standards, a lot of times society set those standards. And especially when you have what's James Brown's song, it's a man's world. Typically they are going to set the rules a lot of time when it comes to how women are supposed to move. And typically, when you're in a situation where you have the power, so to speak, you're going to do things that's going to benefit you. But when you look at the outcome of promiscuity between men and women, there is no good outcome. You know, you have an increase in STDs, you have an increase in out of wedlock pregnancies, you know, all of those. So I don't think that that's a good double standard.
But y'all get a man that can lead in the bedroom and put it down on y'all and blah 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 blah.
That
Y'all,
doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a whole
but
bunch of
but
sexual
that's
partners in order to do that.
but
I've
that's where y'all
learned a
make a
lot
point.
with just my husband.
Yeah, you've learned a lot with your husband because your husband probably got more partners than you. You're
Yeah,
benefiting off of what that other woman done taught him.
yeah, but I don't think that's the case for everybody. You don't need to have a whole bunch. You need a lot of experiences, so to speak. Like, you know, when you play sports, the more you practice, the better you get. But every time you, let's say, play football, you're not practicing with a different football. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? You're using the same thing over and over again to get better. It doesn't necessarily mean you need a whole bunch of different footballs in order to know how to do it.
I don't know, Martavis, how many footballs you done thrown?
Thousands of them, man. You got to keep it going fast, so they switch them
We'll
in, switch
say
them out.
tennis. We'll say change the sport. We'll say tennis racket.
The sports is just a bad example in general.
No, I say tennis racket because typically when you play tennis, you're using the same racket over and over
But you're,
because you
you're
have to
with
get
a different
comfortable.
player. And so you get the experience because you are challenging different people. Everybody has strengths in what they're doing. So
That's
just
true.
using sports is just a bad example.
But y'all
Bad
know what
out
I mean.
mistaken. Bad out.
Yeah, I know what I mean. But yeah, you don't need to have a whole bunch of multiple partners to learn how to do stuff, is what I'm saying. If it's your intent to be better at it, you can read books. They got Karma Sutra. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to. But I mean, everybody wants to do things that feel good.
So you're saying a woman would prefer a man as a virgin?
I actually I know some, especially other virgins. Yes.
Let's talk about generality here.
In general, I think no, just like y'all don't want a woman to sleep around, no woman wants community D either.
Do a
So
woman want a man that's a virgin? Because plenty of men will take women that are virgins. Do a woman want men that are
I would
virgins?
say prior to, I'm gonna be honest. Now, every guy that I know, I know it's a little circle, but a lot of men that I know do not prefer virgins. They don't. They want a woman that has some experience. And I wouldn't say like a whole lot of experience, but for them, having a virgin is not something that they necessarily be like, oh, I want a virgin when I get married, or I want my girl to be a virgin. That's not a thing. They could care less. Now, I would say back in the day,
Is it that they care less, or just the options aren't there like they used to be?
Wow.
that's a good question. I don't know, but I just based on conversation, they said no, that they don't particularly care to have a virgin. Not that they haven't had experience with them, and maybe that's why. Maybe they had an experience, and they're just like, I prefer not.
Any of you fellas had that experience?
No, I would prefer a virgin for sure.
Have you ever had one?
Yes.
What's going on, Dwayne? Why you fighting?
Like, I guess that's a double standard right there. Men wanting a bunch of virgins, but they're going around having multiple partners, de-virginizing, deflowering
There are more women
virgins.
than men, though. There are more women than men.
Huh?
There's more women than men.
Yeah, all I'm just saying is I think that would be counterintuitive if you prefer a virgin, but then you're going around deflowering virgins. I'm just saying.
It's a very solid point. What's your thought on it, Dwayne?
No, I'll go on that one. I mean, if they're going soft pitch, I mean that's you swinging for the fences, and that's on them. That's how I'm putting it. So I raise my daughters to be aware of people like that. That are going to be hey, you can't be a soft pitch, and you can't just be going at any dude that's just swinging at anything. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. But as for double standards, I go back to the women hitting men and expecting nothing in return. Now, my thing is, I don't desire and I don't want to be put in a position to put my hands on a female. Period. Point blank. I raise my boys. Now you don't hit females. But I've seen lately women being very emboldened in putting their hands on men and not expecting the consequences of it, because they think for some reason that they're going to be protected by society, and in the standpoint, it's at that moment in time. You might be protected by the law somehow, but at that moment in time, that reaction, that's tough. So I don't know. I think we are built differently. Physically, we're built different. Mentally, we're built different, unique in its own good way. But I don't think that women should get comfortable with putting their hands on men, nor should men, which I think that's by far a given. Men shouldn't put their hands on women, but specifically to the double standard, women shouldn't put their hands on men.
Does anybody not win yet, or they wanted to chime in?
Yeah, I'll just go off just what Dwayne was talking about because I think I'm living a double standard. Like we have 5 kids and it's boys and girls. So at first I was like, listen, tell my boys you don't hit girls. But then my 2-year-old, she's 3 now, she could not keep her hands off our boys and she would hit them with anything. And we tell them sometimes it's like we try to teach them like it's okay to cry, it's okay to get mad, and we tell them like you can't hit your sister back. But it got to that point where it's like if we keep telling them you can't hit her back, but she doesn't get anything for continuing to put her hands on you, at some point things have to change. So now it's like I don't tell them, like I explain to them what you don't do. You don't hit women, you don't hit girls. But at the same time, like I tell them like nobody's gonna love you more than these people in this house. So if like your sister hit you, like she needs to learn from her brothers who love her more than anybody. So now at this point, at this season of life, I give them the green light to hit her back. And what has been happening less is as she's starting to grow up, like she stopped doing it because now she know there's consequences to it. And like I said, at the same time, it is a double standard because we do teach them like you don't do these things, but we need her to see like you socially, she don't understand these things. She don't go to daycare. She's at home full time, but at the same time, life is not going to slow down because you haven't experienced these things. It's still going to continue to happen. So we have to use what we have in our household to teach her, but also teach her kids. So it's one of those double standards that we're breaking, but it got to the point that we couldn't continue to allow that because we was telling our boys, like, you can't do this, but she's continuing to do that. So it's like, for us, it's like you saying this, but you're not applying that to her. So it's really not fair. And just after hearing them repeatedly say that over and over, it was like at some point, like, as a parent, you have to step in and do something different. At the same time, you have to coach your boys through this. So it's one of those things in this season. Like I said, we just have to like live through that right now. But at the same time, continue to explain that and continue to explain it to our 3-year-old who sometimes she get it, sometimes she don't. She just think it's her brothers. But at the same time, you're still creating these patterns that we don't want you to carry on thinking like this is an okay thing to do because it's not. And there are consequences to that. So that's one of those things, like it's tough to speak about, but at the same time, like raising boys and girls have opened my eyes up to like seeing things from a different perspective. So just as a parent, just being aware of these things, but also using these moments to like be teachable and just explain things to your kids. And I think once I started to like actually explain these things to my kids, they started to see her, and just to let them know, like, it's not about being fair. It's about outside of this house. Like I said, nobody's going to love you more than your siblings and your parents. So if we're tough on you, it's for a reason. So that's why I try to explain things to my kids, even if they get in trouble or anything. We try to explain it so they understand why the things are happening, what they do. So that's one of those things that, like I said, I can only speak to what's going on in our house. I know outside of our house, like it's a whole different conversation to be had, but some things you can't change. I've been on Zooms before and talked about these things, and you get some people whose minds are made up. And for me, I'm not trying to change your mind because I know that's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean we can't have a conversation about those things. So that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But
No, go ahead, Ricky.
the truth is double standards exist because the consequences are different for parties involved. It's simply what it is, right? Like you can get mad at it, but the truth is that if double standards didn't exist, that means men and women would be equal in all things. And we know that's not the case, right? You can get mad because it don't go your way, but I'm not allowed to get mad when something goes your way. It's simply what it is, right? You think the rain don't get mad that the flower get to stay? You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is, right? So with the hitting analogy, right? You have, women, modern women, older women. Don't ever hit no woman, right? When it's when I'm sure you guys know at least one case of somebody where a woman hit a man with a car, hurt him, stabbed him, shot him. You see it every day on the news, right? But we still have this double standard that don't hit a woman. I mean, she could smack your mama, right? And you were supposed to walk away, right? It's just but the consequences is in most cases, right? A woman's usually smaller and not as powerful as a man. So if she do hit you, it's like, you should be able to walk it off, right? But in most cases, right, a man is usually bigger than a woman. And for a lesson for everybody, I used to box. It only takes 5 pounds of pressure to knock anybody out. It only takes 5 pounds of pressure. Technically, a 3-year-old can knock you out if they catch you the right way. Okay. The same with the promiscuity, right? The reason why it's a double standard because the true basis of sex, which is to procreate and have children, and I think we discussed this before, is that women, if it doesn't go right and you bear that child, the weight of the child's years are going to be on you, right? You're going to be responsible for rearing that child. And it don't even think if you feel that you're not responsible, what's the perceptions, right? What does everybody else see? That, hey, 9 times out of 10, who ends up with the child? Right? So again, we need to just be honest about it. Yeah, it sucks, but it simply is what it is in the nature of things, right? So until y'all want to do everything, and I'm not talking about y'all in general, it's never anybody on the panel. Shout out to D, right? But in real life, right, until everybody wants to be 100% even Steven in all things, there'll continue to be double standards. It simply is what it is.
Well, I was just gonna ask about because I know Prototype brought up the point in regards to double standards not just being, typically for gender based. That he brought up the children, which made me think about what Martavius was saying in regards to his siblings. But what about parents? Because I get this since I'm in education. You hear a lot about psychology and parenting and all of that, about parents who spank their children. So you're teaching your children not to hit other people, but then your way of discipline is to hit them. Would you say that's a double standard?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a double standard. Um, Disciplining your child is one thing, but at some point is it's you don't discipline your child that way. You know what I'm saying? Like once your child becomes like a teenager, like you rearing them that way it should be out the window. You know what I'm saying? Around 12, 13ish, you putting your hands on them shouldn't be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Unless they was trying to like harm you, then you're showing them like, oh, you don't come this way. You know what I'm saying? Because I treat you like somebody on the street. But when they're young and they're children, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same way you kind of I ain't gonna say that, but it's when they're young and they're children, you know what I'm saying? It's just something that you can do. I'm not saying it's good for everybody or everybody should do it. Um,
I think you
but
have to add context to it as well. It could be seen that way, but I think the difference between two kids hitting each other and a parent hitting a child, that's discipline, right? We're teaching a form of discipline. When you hit somebody else, you're not disciplining that person. And then it depends on how you're hitting, because there are some parents who are not necessarily disciplining. There are some parents who are beating, and so there's a lot of context that's probably missing, but it definitely could be seen
Yeah.
depending on how it's talked about
It,
as, yes, a double standard.
yeah, because I'm thinking you said it'd be discipline. So if they're learning when you do something wrong, you get hit, right? because that's the form of discipline. So when they leave outside the household, let's say they're at school and somebody did something wrong and they hit, but then they're taught at school you're not supposed to hit other people. In home, you're taught you're not supposed to be hitting other people. But then they're getting a messaging that when you do wrong here, you're gonna get hit. Like I'm not that I agree. I mean, we believe in corporal punishment. You know, our kids grew up with that, so it's not that I have a thing against it. But I just know being in my classes and that kind of stuff, those are issues that come up, and that's what made me think about it. Based on what Martavius was saying, is how there can be a little, I guess, confusion, contradiction, double standard in regards to that. Because the first thing a kid will say is, "Well, you did it." You know what I'm saying?
See,
So
but this is where I have I'm gonna push back. This would require the the power dynamic to be equal for it to be a double standard. You see what I'm saying? The power dynamic has to be equal, right? And again, I think that's the entire problem. Like I was said, is where the responsibility comes in. Who's going to be responsible for the greater of the action, right? Now, the power dynamic, it can't be a double standard because I set the standard for my children. You see what I'm saying? If my kids was raising me, then that's a different conversation. We know that's a big problem going on nowadays, right? But if I'm raising my child, I set the standard. It's not a standard that we both apply to. Now, when my child gets older and grown, then they're able to set whatever standard they want in their child and how it goes for them. More power to you, right? But again, the power dynamic doesn't allow for it to be a double standard. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I say specifically to that there's a hierarchy to authority. So even as her in the house, you're teaching that. And to Montavius's point, it's the brothers now are helping to discipline their sister. Now, what Montavious was saying was they're disciplining other than how society will discipline. They're disciplining out of love. So as for the parents, like, yeah, we know there's some parents who are abusive and all that, right? But once you're disciplining out of love, I think that's where it comes from a different standpoint. So for my kids now, I'm teaching from the standpoint of, hey, if you get into a conflict with your brothers and sisters, don't take it in your hands and hit nobody. If you do, based on your reactions is what's going to get you in trouble. Because I'm teaching them, hey, this is how you handle this. Don't handle it yourself. Come to me. So like at school, what are you supposed to do? Hey, if something goes, you tell your teacher. Tell the principal, go on through the chain of commands and then escalate that way. But then there are some times though where you do got to take things into your own hands, and you do have to discipline your peers in the sense of they take something too far and you got to stand your ground, and you got to then in a physical, like now that's your peer, like now y'all on the same level. Now you have to handle up, and there are certain times where that just happens. But just in the same instance, you're not going out there to look for it. So can a woman hit a man? Yes, she can. But can she just be on the offensive? No, she could be on the defensive whenever she hits a man. But being on the offensive and hitting a man, that's a different ball game. So for me, like there's a hierarchy to the authority in which that can go down. But I'll also then say this from a societal standpoint. Whenever we have men participating now in women's sports, I'm finding that's a double standard in which they're forcing or trying to force for us to accept. Now, if we go back to saying as for why a man should not hit a woman on an offensive, in the same instance, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of why should a biological man or man compete against a biological woman from a standpoint of a societal double standard that we're entering into. This is new. So I just want to put that point out there as well.
I wanted to say that I'm sorry, Dwayne, if I cut you off, but I wanted to say to go back to Montavious' point about the siblings and discipline. I'm a mom of boys, so that was a challenge because I was raised that men don't hit women. But I've had instances with my sons when they were in school. that I had to go to school because it was a girl that was hitting my son. So I addressed it by saying, okay, if she continues to hit him, he gonna hit her back. Just being honest. Like, that's not gonna keep happening. Now, because I have a age difference between my kids, one is 25 and one is 14. With my oldest son, I'll tell him, if you're in a relationship with a woman, if it comes to that point, then it's time to get out. With my 14-year-old, he's homeschooled, so he doesn't have that issue socially. But yeah, I'm addressing it from an equal perspective. Like, if she can put her hands on you, then she asking for it. I don't know how else to handle that, because women these days are not the same women that I was raised around. So just being honest.
I think it's interesting that y'all bring up that point. That if a woman can hit a man, then a man should be able to hit a woman. Then you talked about the sexual situation. Then how is it different? I think you all said because of the consequence. I think that's what Ricky said. The consequences are different. So that's why I think that's a very fine line about the double standards, right? Because uh, if a woman hits me, I don't want to hit her back, but if she's I might have to choke slam her or something. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't want to put my hands on it, but it would be hard for me not to, right? But if we're talking about body count, right? Like, how does a dude say, well, I want you to have a low body count, but I can have a high one, right? So it's an interesting perspective. That's why I wanted to talk about these double standards that we have and how are we able to kind of teach them to our kids, because ultimately that's what needs to be done, is to teach them to their kids. And I would say, as it relates to body count, if you really just want to have the best version of somebody, I would say you want to hold yourself to the same standard that you require somebody else, right? So and what I mean by that is, if a guy says, well, I want my wife to have a low body count, then he should too, right? Same thing is, you teach, because I had to teach my son the same thing, right? My Jordy, she's 5 now, sorry, and her brother Ethan is 9, and she would always hit him, and he knows that he's stronger than her, and he would always kind of like cower to her, until we was like, listen, if she keep hitting you, you're just gonna have to hit her so hard that she don't want to hit you no more. Don't hit her in her face, but you just got to show her. And once he did that, it changed. Go ahead.
I think the sacrifice between men and women, a man can say, I want a woman with a low body count, because the sacrifice is different. You know what I'm saying? We're putting our life on the line. I don't know no woman out here that's going to die for her man. You know what I'm saying? But it's our obligation, it's our duty to make sure we take that blow first, that we die for you in the most extreme way. So if a man wants a woman with a low body count, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because the sacrifice is different. And then on top of that, if he's paying for your livelihood, you know what I'm saying, taking care of you that way, you know what I'm saying, it's not a double standard.
It is based on your own definition. Based on your
I'm saying it's not a double standard, because
listen.
the requirement's different
on purpose, right? The question was because everybody agreed that the position was, it's hypocrisy. That's what everybody said going in, that you're requiring something of somebody else that you're not requiring of yourself. That's a hypocrisy. When I say
the sacrifice is different.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. So, like, if a woman's out, if a woman's out here, listen, if a woman's out here like putting her life on the line for a dude, like if she hears, if they hear the knock at the window and she's getting the gun and running downstairs and checking the robber, hey, by all means, like she can have as many bodies as she want, and so on and so forth, and and if she's out here and if they paying 50-50 on them bills, hey, she can have as many bodies as she want. If that man is taking care of you and has to die for you, he can say what he wants. You know what I mean? Because we got one life. I'm sacrificing my life. So my life is worth a woman with a low body count.
I have a question for clarification, and I'm going to ask Ricky because he actually brought it up, but I would like anybody to chime in. So one of the things that Ricky pointed out about double standards. And specifically, when I asked the question about the discipline, he said that there's a power dynamic with that because he's the adult in that situation. Um, he set the standard, so it couldn't be a double standard. So my question is just in more general terms, who sets the double standards when it comes to women and to men? If there's a power dynamic, who has the power to set those double standards?
That's a great question. Everyone does. It look, the rules only apply to those who follow them.
Did you hear what I said?
Because the truth of it, look, you can lie to yourself all you want, right? Mistaking is your life. Hey, you got a hug. Nah, you doing your thing. You look good too, girl. We're doing it. You look good, girl, doing it, right? But the truth of the matter is, right? Even though y'all try to fight it, even though mentally you do gymnastics, right, to make it seem like it's something or not, you really know the truth. We all do. That's why they exist, because if they didn't, we'd have squashed it years ago, centuries ago. The truth of the matter is, let's use the body counting, because this is what everybody want to tiptoe around. Let's just jump right in this quicksand, right? The truth of the matter is, as much as y'all say, and as much y'all have these female gurus who try to say, well, it sit on a man the same way as a woman does. It does not. And let me explain to you why. Where does the sperm go when a man shoots his nut in you? Where does it go?
A womb.
You know, huh? Exactly, right? So you don't get rid of it. I mean, you can squeeze it out if you're into that type of thing, if that's what you want to see on tape, right? But if you with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever your number is, shout out to the people who deal with that, right? You are absorbing the DNA of those men. It doesn't go anywhere. Me, I wash my dick off and I move on. It simply is what it is. You guys want to change nature. I know it sucks. It sucks. I hate it. Hey, I'm sorry. It simply is what it is. Fire can't get mad that ice get to go in the drink, right? It's simply what it is. We try to make it what it's not. The reason why it hits so hard for y'all, because you are responsible for that baby is yours no matter what. I don't know whose it is until I take a DNA test. I'm believing your lying ass. This is simply the facts, right? We, like I said before, we all here to do what we all here to do. We need to stop trying to skirt around and make excuses so I don't have to be responsible. You are responsible for your womb and what comes out of your body and what you allow to put into it. It's my job to stab you. That's what we here for. I know it sucks.
I'm not talking about just sex. I mean, in general, like even if you look at pay in terms of women that may be doing the same job that men are doing, but they get paid.
That's been debunked.
That's a false argument. That's a false argument.
Hold on.
Let her finish.
Hold on. No, I read some of the studies, so I know what y'all are referring to, but it still occurs. It still occurs. It may not be at the rate in which we initially thought it was, but it does still occur. But I wasn't just referring to sex. It just could be anything, because there are a myriad of different double standards.
I agree.
For me, I'm talking in general terms, not just sex.
I got you.
In general.
I got you.
Yeah.
Again, it's who's responsible for what, right? Like I said, at the end of the day, okay, so this is the thing. When it comes to the pay gap thing, even though people say it, right, they want 50-50. I'm talking about the ladies, right? At the end of the day, you as a woman want a man that you can rely on that's going to take care of you, right? Now, if you have the ability, if necessary, right? If necessary, you will pitch in. But what's the ideal situation? Right? At the end of the day, that man is going to be responsible for you, just like what Prototype said. I seen a video the other day, right? They asked like 4 different men and 4 different women, right? They asked, if somebody's threatening y'all life and it's between you or your lover, would you save them? All the ladies said no. All the men said yes, I would save my lover. It's what we're responsible for. The very things that allow this man and woman thing to continue, right? The things that attract you to a man, those are things that you're gonna hold him responsible for. If not, every little time you're gonna lose some respect for him. And y'all know what happens when y'all don't respect a man. It's not that y'all can't just be with him, y'all gonna do him dirty. Y'all gonna bash him, y'all gonna talk about him bad to your friends, then you'll leave him.
So what about this double standard? Because I still didn't give you an answer. So this is one for women. So it's a double standard. Like we'll see advertisement with women showing their breasts or whatever, right? But then a woman breastfeeding in public is looked at as like you just don't do that. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a double standard that's for women. Cleavage, they show their cleavage, is advertised and in media and all over. But when a woman tries to breastfeed their child in public, they are told to cover up.
I think I have a response to that. I think I have. I'm gonna go to two things. I'm gonna come to you.
So who determines that?
I mean, this. I think it's a hard to. It's not hard to answer, but you're gonna make it. It's gonna feel biased, right? But as it relates to why are women sexualized, it's because of women. That's what it is. Like, if you want me to get more deeper into it, it's because a man can't make you show your cleavage. A man can't make you do a porn flick. A man can't make you wear a sexy dress. A man don't do that. Women sexualize themselves because they want the attention of a man. That's what it is. If you all, because a man is still going to be stimulated whether we see it or not more times, you know what I'm saying? Because we're just that type of beings, right? But if women decide to cover themselves up, then dudes can't sexualize them. If they do that, it would be in a different fashion.
I mean, men can. It's just at that point you wouldn't be responsible for it.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? Like they're titties. Like men love to see titties, but y'all know that. And then when yeah, right. But this is what I'm saying, right? Again, double standards, right? This is a double standard you just put out to us, right? Oh, it's sexualized, even though you put it out yourself and you monetize your titties in a magazine.
Y'all wear gray jogging pants.
Hey, tomato, right?
Exactly.
I'm just saying, right? Again, that's what we all responsible for what we're responsible for.
But I took that completely different. I think we are okay with sexuality in a sense of women showing their breasts because most people are doing sex. Not everybody are parents, right? And then how we view women when they become mothers or they become wives. That picture Sierra when she was standing next to her husband and you could see her breast out. Every comment on the internet was she's a mother. She should not be wearing that anymore. You are someone's wife. You are someone's mother. You need to cover up. So when you are just sitting up with your breast out, we don't know what you are, right? It's okay because you just a single woman with your breast out. The moment you attach a child to that and we can see your breast, now it is you should be covered because you are someone's mother.
No, a titty's still a titty.
It is a titty, but most people.
I had to say no. That's like that's the kids. Like that's his. Like he got that one. That's how I look at it. Because I think I'm not sure. Women, do y'all look at other women's breasts? That's the question for the women.
Yeah.
In what way?
Butt size?
No. I mean, y'all notice. Be like,
not like that. Not like that.
Right there. Look at those.
We can see each other. We're more comfortable with. When you with your home girls, we don't have a problem.
We don't dress in front of each other, getting ready. Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Look, like Rick said, man, a titty's still a titty. I like side boob, under boob, top boob. While she's breastfeeding, some of that boob is out. And I like every single part of it.
Man.
It is what it is. If I can see some side boob, I like it. If I can see some under boob, I like it. A boob is a boob. You know what I'm saying? I like boobs and boobs like me. And if I see any of it, I'm gonna like it. So,
But
period.
half the
I
time
have
when
a
women are
question.
breastfeeding, it's not men that are making comments for them to cover up. It's other women.
Oh,
I have a
okay.
question.
So
What's the sacrifice for a man being promiscuous? Because I had this conversation earlier with my husband in terms of wealth building. And because we have sons, my concern was a young woman attaching themselves sexually to one of my children in efforts to make a child to attach herself to his wealth, and him being aware of that. So he should be cognizant as to how he's moving sexually in these streets, because if you sleeping with her, you can make a baby, and that baby is attached to the wealth that we built collectively. So he needs to be just as mindful as the young woman that
Right.
we don't have.
You right. He
We're
does,
agreeing.
but he's not going to be judged the same though. That's what I'm. Look, this
He's gonna
is
be judged by me the same.
yeah, by you, but not society as a whole. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about, right? He's not going to be judged the same. It's simply what it is. Now, I believe in that. Like I said, I believe in that NFL contract without no baby, without no marriage, because that's what it is, right? You 18 years, you get access to that money. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying the perception of it. He's not going to be judged the same as a woman that's around these streets. They trying to make it different, right? They trying to make it so, but it'll never be that, because at the end of the day, because the consequences that come from sex, the base consequences, just like you said, that child, right? At the end of the day, 98% of the time that woman gets stuck with the child. She's responsible for the paternity of that child. That's why I tell y'all, marriage exists for the child, not for us, right? Because within the marriage, I'm married to you because I know that's supposed to be my kid. That's what marriage is for, in the wealth building. That's the stuff that's extra. That's a perk of it, right? So again, it's about what you're responsible for. It's about what we're responsible for. And no matter how much you try to slice it or dice it, make it how you want to make it in your mind, right? 90% of the time, if a woman gets pregnant and that dude bail out, she's going to be stuck with that kid, right? If she gets pregnant, it's on her to prove who the father is, not him. Right? That's where you should get a DNA test. No, if you're a woman, you should get a DNA test. Only you know where your box been at. But we always want to shirk responsibility of what we here to do off to the other sex. No, women, this is what y'all are responsible for. Men, this is what you're responsible for. Do your job, and everything else will work out.
It's similar. You also, I think Dwayne, did you already go?
Yeah, I already went.
All right. This kind of another double standard is, cougars, right? Women are able to date younger men, and it's very acceptable. But then if a dude that's 50 want to date a 25-year-old, then it seems to be frowned upon, right? Yeah, y'all aware of this? What do you think about that one? Right.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna talk about the men having a body, having a high body count and having that particular perspective, that's what Ricky's alluding to, right? Like, that's why I'm asking. There are acceptable double standards. We know that they are double standards. But what's your thought process on women? I'll even go a different way, okay? Because I was just looking up double standards of a woman who is an older woman and she sleeps with a younger dude, underage dude, right? Versus, because it's a thing, especially in education, this happens. Okay, we know stories and they make movies about it, right? They make movies about it. Okay, and so why do you think it's not frowned upon when a woman does it? Because a dude is kind of still even rewarded for sleeping with an older woman, right? But then if a younger dude, if an older dude does it, then he's frowned upon. What say ye?
I don't know why this is a thing. Most women are, for somebody who is divorced, okay, I've done a little bit of the higher end and the lower end, okay? At 20 something, you have nothing to offer me other than some sex, right? You are working on your career. So a lot of younger people are looking for older men because there is more stability there. You know what I mean? So If that's what you want, that's what you want. If a older woman is dating a younger man, again, she's probably looking to get her back broken. It's.
But then it's looked at. The double standard still exists. Is what I'm saying.
It is, but date who you want to. Hell, that's the problem. If I'm in a season to get my back broke out, then let me be in my back broke season. Okay, that's her business. That's her business. I don't have no problems with whoever you want. Whoever you're laying with is your business.
I don't know. I think the double standard is the opposite. I think it's the same for men and women when either one is sleeping with someone that's underage. I think it's the same. Now the consequences, I know
underage or just younger.
No, they were talking about underage. Now the stats do show, I agree, where when women do it in terms of any sentencing or anything like that, that they typically get sentenced for less time if they get sentenced at all. So that part I do agree. But I mean, in general terms, I think it's kind of looked at the opposite in terms of if we're saying everybody's of legal age, that it's looked down upon for a woman to be a cougar if she's of a certain age in terms of that age gap. And then specifically, I think with men, the reason is because I think with men, it is looked at as them being a predator, that they are being intentional with trying to date younger women to take advantage. That's the way that I've seen it. So,
but the same thing applies. There are plenty of younger women out here trying to cash in on pension checks. But I will say this: there was an entire movie in the Black community dedicated to cougaring.
Stella got a groove bag.
Where is the movie where men? They're not gonna do that.
It's because they're doing that in real life.
No, because we're not because it's frowned upon. It's a double standard.
R. Kelly.
I want to ask.
And look what happened.
I want to ask this right there. Just
after how many times and he getting out.
Put a little cherry on his cake. A little cherry on his cake, right? Shouldn't it be worse for women as they mature faster than men? Ain't that what they say? Shouldn't it be worse then? Right? Because supposedly, mentally and emotionally, y'all grow up faster than us.
I think the intention is more clear if it's a woman dating a younger man than an older man dating a younger woman. It's probably strictly sexual if it's an older woman dating a younger man. With an older man, it could be predatory or frowned upon as being predatory because he's looking to use her in every way possible.
How is that?
I'm just saying,
ladies, I am not agreeing with y'all tonight on this one.
I'm just saying.
Shan is
Thank you, Shan.
Because what?
Thank you, Shan. I appreciate you.
Because women mature much faster than men, or said to be that way, then what can a much younger man do for a woman other than sex? I mean,
are you asking
what a woman could do for a man? It could be sexual. It could be just being ignorant and submissive and all the other things that a lot of these men require.
Without these spaces, they talk about grooming. I literally heard somebody say that's why they call them a groom, because a man is supposed to groom a woman. That's why they need to get them early. I mean, I've heard that in these spaces. So that's why I was saying, in terms of society-wise, I think it's the opposite, and where it's frowned up more so on men because of that mindset.
But check this out.
That was all I was saying.
That's what's interesting about that. So that's why I would say that's a really bad double standard. To like, some make sense. That one doesn't, in my perspective, because if women are hypergamous and they're always looking to date older men, that's just what you all are. That's what y'all do. Y'all look for older men. Well, and it's not necessarily like 4 to 5 years. I mean, there are women that would like to date older men because he is of some substance or some stature. He's stable. you know, and she could get groomed, whatever the case may be. All those things could be looked upon as positive things, right? Watch this. However, and when an older woman just want to go get her back beat in, you know what I'm saying? Then you're gonna say, oh, but that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's only one reason why an older woman would want to date a younger dude, and that's to get her back beat in. As opposed to a younger woman, there's multiple reasons, as you alluded to, dear, that she could date an older man, which makes more sense.
I think women date up, not necessarily older. So a woman is not necessarily interested in just dating an older man. She's looking for more financial stability.
And that typically happens around 35 to 40s.
Typically, but we're not living in typical times.
We are. That's where we at. We are. That's typical.
Everything that's going on now is typical.
What I'm saying is typically the if you go look at who makes the money, it's typically dudes that's after 35, because if they're younger, like if they're in their 20s, they're probably a professional athlete, or they may be into stocks or real estate, which most young people are not, because it's all about having the experience, and then you capitalize on your experience. And most people are not entrepreneurs; they stay in the professional world to be able to gain their money. So, but watch what I'm saying though. You said that it's acceptable. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It's acceptable for an older woman, or you're giving the excuse for an older woman to only have one reason. You said it, and that's to have sex with a younger dude, right? However, the younger woman has multiple reasons to date an older dude, but you're gonna frown upon the dude that's an older dude that's willing to groom and be able to take care of this young lady and be able to show her things that she's never seen before.
Groom sounds so predatory.
I agree with it.
You see what I'm saying?
It just sounds so predatory. I'm not saying that it is, like, but I guess that's what Dia is saying in terms of it seeming. It just, because, and the reason I say that, especially as young women, I'm quite sure that you guys, when you were younger, you had older guys hitting on you. I remember being in high school, and there used to be older men that would hang out at the high school for that reason, to try to get with high school girls, and they like 25 and up. That's predatory. Like, you can tell me that is very predatory and creepy. And they are creepy. And some girls, and when y'all are talking about when being hypergamous at that age, at 16, 17, any money is more money than what you have. So it's not, so in that sense, it is hypergamous on their end, because even if you're, I know y'all gonna get mad, but it's an ongoing joke, a bus driver, right? And you're making that kind of money as a bus driver, and I'm 16 in high school, that's hypergamous. You're gonna be able to do for me other than what I can do for myself at that age, but you're really not making bank. So in that regard, that is predatory. He's not looking to take care of her.
Exactly.
He's looking to smash and groom and do what, have her doing stuff with him, and who knows who else. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like he's taking care of her.
A young woman is not looking to screw an older man. We used to be grossed out by that. The man at the club, with the only guy in the club with a suit.
No. Hold on. That was after the fact of. Listen. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna be totally transparent. I'm from Chicago and South Side. You know what I'm saying, Jeffrey Minor? You know what it is. Then you know what I'm talking about, dear. Right? I went to Hyde Park Career Academy.
Okay.
Now I can definitely attest to the story, because if you know anything and you're around my age, R. Kelly used to come up to Kenwood and hang out by the McDonald's and shop little girls, right? But the girls went over there looking for R. Kelly too.
That's R. Kelly.
Hold on, because I knew you was gonna say that. Example 2, right? 2 is a sample, correct? 2 is a sample, right? I know this girl I went to grammar school with, knew her since 4th grade. Her name was Latrice Parker. When we got in high school, her boyfriend was 35.
Her name?
Because she's still with the man. They married. She was 14 years old, a freshman. He was 35, pulling up in a Monte Carlo SS clean. Her mama knew they was together. Her mama said she can go live with the man at 14.
Creepy.
At 14. And she was with it. She was with it. Right? So again, listen to this is what I'm saying, right? And we looked at him like, why you messing with that grown ass man? Woo woo. You too young for him, right? But when it's an older lady with a younger man, it's you go, girl, you still got it.
I disagree.
You can still pull them. You can still pull them.
They made a movie about it, D.
I don't care what they made.
It was glamorized.
But it's the same thing, though. It's the same thing. Like a guy that's 19 or 20 who ain't established his life yet with a woman that's 35 or 40 who got her stuff together. It's the same thing. Right? But it's looked at different because you know why? Because of the dynamics. Because who's really responsible for what?
Man.
Y'all don't hear me, though. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me.
What are we talking
Who's
about?
responsible for what? I don't get it.
Men are responsible for everything.
Men are responsible for everything. So it's looked at predatory from when we do it. You know what I mean? And if a young dude is messing with an older woman, he want that. He need that. Blah 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 blah. He's controlling it. You know what I'm saying? It's all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And it's the dynamics. Go ahead, bro.
I think another thing is they celebrate it because it's like they're used to getting traded out as they age. They heard them stories of how men leave for younger women. So like when it happens in reverse, they're cheering it on like that's where you go, girl. Yeah, you go get you an old one because that's what they've been doing to us. It's kind of like the O.J. Simpson thing. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask y'all something? Do you think that as a society
So you didn't let us say yes or no?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because it's basically what he just said, that you as men reinforce that the opposite. And this is the reason I say this, and I've spoken on this before. So not to make it, take a left turn, but in regards to when we look at being molested, right? If you have a young boy that did that to a young girl, they get in trouble, right? It's like really frowned upon. But when a young girl does that to a young boy, I see that other guys reinforce that behavior and don't even consider that they got molested. They'll be like, yeah, I lost my virginity. They be bragging, I lost my virginity when I was 10 with my babysitter who was 16. And they brag on that. And I remember I had to say, no, son, you were molested. You didn't lose your virginity. No, it's not seen like that. Like, no, that's not the same thing. So I think in terms of society, other men reinforce the whole older woman, younger men behavior when you look at it from that perspective. Because on one end is looked at as molestation when it's the older guy, the younger girl, but is not looked like that as when it's an older girl and a younger guy. So that is definitely a double standard, but that's definitely not a good double standard. But I think as a society, it's reinforced by other men.
Can I address?
Let me see what Tay got on it. Then I'll come to you real quick.
I'm just listening. It's too good. I'm Rick, you got it, man. You informing me and teaching me.
Okay. So let me get my train of thought back right. So you say men reinforce it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, answer me this. Not you, because it's never nobody. It's never y'all. Again, you guys, look, ladies, you guys are the exception. Shan, top notch. Dia, you already know. You know what I'm saying? Mistake. Creme de la creme, not y'all. But in general, how many women, when they hear something like that happen to their sons, go beat that lady up? Go press charges. Do the things that were supposed to not reinforce that stereotype. Or better yet, let me ask you this question. How do most women react when they find out that's a man that did it to their daughter?
Did you hear what I said?
I'm not sure if I understand. You're saying, no, that's what I was about to say. I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying, how do women react?
He's saying that
Look, so
if
he's
a woman
saying
found out that their son
Let's
was
handle it.
raped,
I'm trying to get clarification.
he's trying to say if a woman found out that their sons were being raped, would that be reported
with the word,
as frequently as women will report if a man touched their daughter? So
I'm
the
gonna be
number of
honest,
reports,
I don't know, but I can go by statistically. A lot of times, boys don't report. Like it's not reported because it is frowned upon. But
well,
definitely, I would say if it's a same sex, it's more likely to be reported if it's a male on male situation versus if it was a female on male. Because again, society accepts, in a sense, you know.
But that's the thing, though, mistaken. The exception would be made by the woman, by the mother, because if you break it down, as you know, that most males, well, we'll say in the black community anyway, are raised by single mothers, right?
Yeah, but most boys don't report it, is what I'm trying to tell
That's
you.
fine.
I
That's fine.
understand that,
I understand
but
that,
why
but at
though?
the
But
same
why
time,
though? But why though? You see what I'm saying? The reason why is because the truth of the matter is, hey, HD, my stuff is circular because it's true, right? Because like I said earlier, deep down in y'all mind, even though women, y'all don't want to admit it, and y'all try to play this Monopoly game of this Jenga game of what's what, y'all know deep down a sexual act doesn't affect the male the same way it affects the female. It doesn't stay with the man the same way it stays with a female. It's simply what it is.
As a
It's
child,
what it is. As a child, as an adult, and let me clarify, right? Because I hear what you're saying. Even though it may, the perception
I agree.
is that it doesn't affect the boy the same way it affects the female. That's a double standard. They exist. It's simply what it is. You can hate it all you want.
that's why it's not reported, mistaken, because that's a double standard, right? That's what is being said. A boy is not going to report it because of what it has been seen as though it brings him a validation.
Is
So
it acceptable though?
is it acceptable? About if you're talking about whom, if we're talking about us on the panel, we're going to say no, it's not acceptable, right? But the reason why there's a double standard is created by a societal norm, right? That's why it becomes a double standard. Like now, for you in general, you specifically, then it's not acceptable at any particular point in time. That's what I'm trying to get people to see that some double standards are they're just gonna live out. Some of them are okay, and some of them are not. And I think that most people struggle with which ones are to be for them to be bothered by. For example, it should you should have a problem if you have a problem with an older man dating a younger woman, you should also have a problem with an older woman dating a younger dude, right? But both of you all that nod y'all head, y'all put it back on the man. Both scenarios.
I disagree.
That's
No,
fine. If you put it back on,
I'm not with double standard. Like in regards to that, I know this sounds
Equally
wrong, but I think it's disgusting either way.
Exactly.
okay,
I'm sorry, I just do.
that's what y'all put down. But before, you all were given an out for the older woman.
No,
The
no, you
rationale
asked how
was
yeah, go
the
ahead. I was
general
gonna.
consensus might be for a woman that will participate in that. Is
Say it
what
again.
I'm saying. I said I just gave the consensus of what a woman that will participate in that might be thinking. I didn't give an out. That's
Okay.
still not an out. It's
Okay.
just probably what is likely the reasoning. If
Right.
I
The
can speak.
question was
It's
what
not
we
okay.
thought about this double. You posed the question which one was worse, and you phrased it saying that this way was worse because of this. What we were saying is based on what we've seen, it's the opposite of what you were saying. Not that we agreed with it. It was just opposite in terms of what we saw.
Okay. That's fair. That's what's up. Good dialogue. I think I'm always wondering how people process the things that that come to them. So I just ask. So I'm not arguing. It's just a dialogue and a conversation to get different perspectives, and I always appreciate everyone's perspective. Those that are out there, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. We have a couple people that are streaming. Make sure you go and check out Ricky. Absolutely, go and check out Ricky over there on his pod. Well, you still doing the boxing and whatnot. You still
yeah, you can follow me. I'm about to get back on my content. I just got out of work, busy with work, so we just ended school. So I'm about to got time. We didn't have no time this last couple of weeks, so but we back on it.
That's what's up. And then you got Martavius. He just soaking up all the information. You know what I'm saying? You can catch him on IG. Have y'all made? I haven't seen any new content. Have y'all made any?
We've been busy, man. We got some other stuff that we're working on, so that's kind of become the second thing for us, and just
okay.
So we got some other things that's coming up here soon.
That's a bet. But y'all can check him out on IG as well as YouTube, and then you got Mistaken, over there on IG. Where else can they?
We're She Critique on Fridays.
Okay. Tell me about that. What's She Critique?
So She Critique is just basically a forum where we're basically having these discussions, relationships, or whatever the topic of the day might be. So you could catch us at the Lapeef on the Lapeef channel, Lapeef Entertainment, or whatever, at 9:00 on Friday. Well, let me take that back. We'll say 9:45 on Fridays.
That's what's up. And Ms. Dia, what can they find you? I know IG. You got to play it for me again.
Yeah, on IG at A Rose from Rubble. And my podcast is coming soon. I'm taking my time, but not a lot.
That's what's up.
Can't wait for it. Can't wait for it.
For real. What you gonna be talking about?
Spirituality, practical metaphysics, and self-actualization.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And Dwayne, where can they find you, bro?
I got this channel where
you're antisocial.
Yeah. But I got this channel where we're talking about quantum physics. And no, I'm kidding.
Really? Oh, right. Look, you see, I lit up.
I do.
You did
so far. Okay.
Yeah.
No, not too social, but do photography. So DwayneJonesPhotography.com.
Excellent. And then Shan, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram under Renewed Lens. Just me, my family, my hair. That's what we're doing over here.
That's what's up. Appreciate you. And then Mr. Prototype.
Man, come over to Prototype Dad Podcast. We got a slew of things we're talking about over there. We talk about what men fear, what we're scared of. We talk about our emotions. We talk about boxing. Shout out to Ricky. You know what I mean? We talk about all types of stuff, man. How to be a better man. We talk about, we got a conversation about reparations coming out, man. Just tune in.
What? Say it again. What is it?
We're talking about reparations and how that should look and what it should look like for us. You know what I'm saying?
Tell them when they can come find you.
Tuesday nights at 9:00, man. We're always live.
That's what's up. This has been real once again. Hey, you know what's crazy? Like, I started the show and like I forgot to hit play. You know what I'm saying? And it gets like that sometimes. I was excited and didn't do what I was supposed to do. All right?
I saw it when the live popped up. So we missed what Ricky said.
Yeah. Totally missed what Ricky said.
Y'all missed it.
He
was spitting. No, I'm just
Man, I did it too.
Hey, but I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate greatness. Appreciate greatness.
Absolutely. Until next time, we out here.
Good night.
Good night.
Peace.
The boy is dangerous.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.